Welcome to day 4 of the 10-day beginner yoga challenge. Today's class will be focused on poses that help open the hips to enhance flexibility and mobility in this complex joint. Optional blanket today to cushion the knees if you'd like, and we'll get started in a wide knee child's pose. You have the option to layer the blanket underneath the knees if you have it. Bring the big toes to touch, knees out wide as you sink your hips back into the heels. Extend the arms, chest forward onto the mat. A few breaths here to ground down. Maybe close the eyes if you'd like. Maybe even tilt the head side to side, massaging through the forehead, releasing through neck, shoulders. And beginning to bring that attention in towards the breath as you inhale through the nose. And open mouth, let it go. 2 more breaths. Breathe in. Breathe out. Full breath in. Full breath out. Stay here longer if you need, or on your next inhale, we'll lift up your tabletop. We'll take some movement through cat-cow. So as you inhale, you can drop the belly, open up through the chest. Exhale, press the floor away, round through the spine. About 3 or 4 more breaths here. Any other movement, side to side. You can take some circles with the hips, leaning it over towards one side, circling the hips back into the heels, and then completing the circle over towards the opposite side. If you're taking those circles, you can switch directions, about 1 or 2 more breaths to even out. When you feel about even, we'll meet at a neutral spine tabletop, hips over knees, shoulders over wrists. Walk your hands about a palm distance forward and tuck your toes. Send your hips up and back, downward facing dog. 2 to 3 breaths here to land. You can pedal out through the legs, maybe shake the head yes and no. And generous bend in the knees as you lengthen the hips up and back, shifting the weight into the legs. And on your next inhale, right leg will lift. You can bend your knee, stack your hips, scorpion tail, beginning to yawn that right side open. Maybe take some circles with the knees or the ankle, maybe bend and straighten the right leg. When you feel ready, we'll step the right foot between the hands, warrior 2. Spin the left heel flat, spiral the arms open out to a T, and then peeking down at the feet, so right toes pointing straight ahead. Knee stacked up over ankle, making sure you can see that right big toe, so externally rotating the hip over towards the right edge of the mat. Can you reach down strong to both feet, so press down, engage the legs as you inhale, lift up and out of the ribs. On your exhale, can you reach through the fingers, relax shoulders away from ears, maybe sink the hips a little deeper. 1 more full breath in. And stay, settle for the exhale. On your next inhale, reverse peaceful warrior. Sweep that right arm up and back. You maybe lift your gaze. We'll pause here for a breath. See if you can open up through the right ribs, but also through the left. And on your next exhale, we'll take a goddess pose. So pivot the heels in, toes out, bend your knees, sink your hips as you cactus the arms. 2 more times. Inhale, open up, 5-pointed star. Exhale, goddess, making sure knees are tracking over to toes, so opening up through the hips. 1 more time. Inhale, open up, 5-pointed star. And exhale, sink the hips, goddess pose. Inhale, open up, 5-pointed star. We'll come back to that warrior 2, so pivot the right toes forward. Left toes can pivot out or slightly inward. Arms out to a T. On your next inhale, reverse peaceful warrior. This time I'll plant the hands to the inside of the right foot, lizard lunge. You can heel toe the right foot out wide. Back heel will lift, left toes pointing straight ahead. Again, right knee stacked up over ankle, so adjusting that right foot as you need. A few more breaths here in the lizard. You have the option to lower the left knee down, maybe bring forearms down to the mat. Or option 2, add a twist. If you're taking the twist, left hand will plant down to the inside of the right foot. Left knee is lowered down if you're not already there. And flex your right toes to protect the knee. On your inhale, right arm will open up for the twist. Maybe the gaze follows. You can stay here, or option to go a little deeper. Spiral the right hand towards that left foot and bend your left leg, reach in the direction of the foot, or maybe you grab the foot. Right toes can point out just slightly, making sure the toes stay flexed to protect the knee. 2 more breaths. If you have that bind, slowly release without flinging. Return back through center, plant the hands to the inside of the right foot. This time we'll tuck the left toes, lift your left knee, and step your right foot back. We'll meet in a high plank. Option here for that chaturanga, or you can lower knees, chest, chin for that modified. Take a breath into upward facing or cobra. And on your exhale, we'll meet in downward facing dog. 2 breaths. Breathe in. Breathe out. Inhale. And exhale. We'll take that same flow to the other side. On your next breath, left leg will lift. You can bend your knee, stack your hips, scorpion tail here, beginning to yawn that left side open. Any movement, circles through the knees, ankles, or maybe bend and straighten the left leg. When you feel ready, we'll step the left foot between the hands, warrior 2. Inhale brings you up to standing. We'll spiral the arms open and spin the right heel flat. Right toes pointing towards the right edge of the mat, or maybe slightly pigeon-toed inward. Gazing down, making sure you can see your left big toe, so knee stacked up over left ankle, and then working that external hip rotation in the left leg. A few breaths here. See if you can root down into the feet. Stay active through the fingertips. And on your exhale, maybe sink down a little bit deeper. On your next breath, inhale to reverse peaceful warrior. Lengthen that left arm up and back. Maybe lift your gaze. And take another full breath here. See if you can open up through both sides of the ribs. And on your next exhale, goddess pose. Heels in, toes out. Bend your knees, cactus the arms as you sink the hips down to that low squat. 2 more times. Inhale, expand, open, straighten the arms and legs, 5-pointed star. Exhale, goddess pose. Again, making sure knees are tracking over toes. Last time, breathe in. Breathe out. Inhale, opening up, 5-pointed star. And pivot towards the front. Warrior 2, bringing the gaze over the left fingertips. Left toes pointing straight ahead. And spiral that right heel down, toes pointing out towards the right edge or slightly pigeon-toed. On your next inhale, reverse peaceful warrior. And on your exhale, we'll take that lizard pose. So plant the hands to the inside of the left foot. You can heel to the left foot out a little bit wider, create some space. Left knee stacked up over left ankle. Right toes can stay tucked if you'd like, or maybe lower the right knee. Option to stay here, or you can add that twist. If you're taking the twist, right hand to the inside of the left foot. Left fingers up towards the sky, or maybe left hand to hip. You can turn the left toes slightly outward to about 10 o'clock if you'd like, keeping the toes flexed. Option to stay here or reach for that right leg. You can bend your right leg, maybe reach in the direction of the foot, or you bind. 2 breaths here. When you feel complete, slowly release the bind. We'll plant the hands to the inside of the left foot. This time we'll tuck the right toes, lift your knee. We'll step the right foot forward. We'll meet in a ragdoll. So feet can be about hip or shoulder distance. Soft bend in the knees as you lengthen the crown of the head down towards the mat. You can stay here, or we'll meet in Malasana, a yogi squat. Heels in, toes out. Bend your knees, sink your hips, come down to the squat. If heels are lifted, you can play with maybe bringing the feet out a little bit wider or sliding the edge of the blanket underneath the heels to close that gap. Hands and come to heart center. See if you can press into the palms, maybe elbows, press into the inner thighs. As you melt the chest forward, see if you can lengthen up through the spine, working to stack shoulders over hips. 2 more breaths. When you feel ready, we'll release the hands, pivot the toes, meet back in that forward fold. This time we'll press into the feet. Inhale brings you up to standing. Head will come up last. Maybe you reach the arms up overhead. You can lift your gaze. And on your exhale, we'll bring hands to heart center, Tadasana. Thank you so much for allowing me to share my practice with you today, and I hope to see you tomorrow for day 5.